Hi, ladies and gentlemen. In this tutorial, I want to talk to you about connecting Act Premium Cloud, to Microsoft Outlook. Now, as a rule of thumb, there are certain aspects of this which we want to connect, but there are certain things that I do not recommend connecting. For example, you can share contacts and your calendar with Microsoft Outlook. But this has always been my dilemma. If you have a certain level of knowledge of Microsoft Outlook, you'll know that if you send an email to a contact at Act, it's going to open up Outlook and embed that email address into Outlook. In other words, Outlook, even though the contacts are not in Outlook, it will remember that email address. So my experience and my gut instinct is to tell you that don't try to use more than one database. In other words, don't put all your information in both Act and Outlook. Don't put your calendar in both. My experience has been that the most relevant reason that people want their information in Outlook is because they're trying to set up their calendar and contacts on a smartphone or some type of tablet. If that is purely the reason and you're an Act user, there are better ways to do that. So I'm going to leave that right there. Feel free to reach out to me with questions, but I'm going to leave it at that for the purpose of this tutorial. So let me go up and show you what we're going to do next. I'm going to go up to Tools, and I'm going to come down to where it says Synchronize with Outlook down at the bottom. Now, to do that, we need to download what's called Act Integration. So I'm going to click on that, and we're going to start this process. Now, at this point, it's asking me for some security information, so bear with me while I type this in. And I'm going to click OK. It says the password is invalid. Let me do that one more time. I think I might be using the wrong password here. Let me just change this real quick. Okay, there we go. I put the wrong password in. Common occurrence, but now I started that process. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do is pause for a minute so I can get through this process right now. Okay, so you see down at the bottom of the screen, we've downloaded the software, and now it's asking us what we want to do with it, and I'm going to run it. I'm going to let it run. We'll go through this process together. I'm going to say run. We're getting a little bit of a security notice here. This popped up on my screen. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to go through the install process. Now, I'm not a software engineer, so if you ask me what is all this stuff, I have some general knowledge, but not enough knowledge to tell you in great detail. I just know that in essence, when you do this kind of thing, I tell people trust the software that it's going to do what it's supposed to do. And let's see how this works its way through. I'm going to click Next. It's going to ask me to close Microsoft Outlook, which I'm going to go do here. Close that down. Come on. It might not be closed all the way down. Let me click back, and then I'm going to click Next. There we go. Click Next one more time. It's going through the last steps of the process. Exciting stuff, huh? But let's just let this run through so you can see what the entire experience is like. And I'm going to click Finish. Now it's going through the final steps. Click OK. Okay, now for the next step. Let's go back to Tools. Let's go down to Synchronize with Outlook. I'm going to go down and I'm going to choose Outlook Synchronization Preferences because I need to set this up. So I'm going to click on that. This popped up. I'm going to click on Close because I've already installed the software. I expect to see a pop-up shortly on the window. And let's see if that comes up. It might take a couple seconds for that to come up. So at this point, I am going to go back to Tools, and I'm going to go back down to Synchronize with Outlook, and I'm going to click on Outlook Synchronization Preferences to set this up. This is going to say Install. I'm going to click on that again. Down below, I'm going to click on Allow. It's going to start a process. So at this point, I'm going to go back after opening Microsoft Outlook and clicking on Tools. I'm going to go back down to Synchronize with Outlook, and I'm going to click on Outlook Synchronization Preferences. This will pop up. I'm going to click on Allow. I'm going to say Yes. I'm going to run this program. I'm going to say Yes again, allowing it to set up the synchronization tool between Act and Outlook, which I should see down here once it's set up properly. Okay, so down in the bottom right, the Act integration service is now running. Let's go back to Tools one more time. There's a lot of steps to get this working properly when you first get it going. I'm going to click Do Not Show Me This Warning. I'm going to click on Allow. Okay, here we go. Now that took a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie, that's a little bit confusing what you have to go through. So at this point, what I'm going to do is we have some options here. It is asking me what I want to synchronize. Regarding the calendar, I'm going to do right now a two-way sync. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm just going to sync the Outlook calendar into Act. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Under Advanced Preferences, I'm going to come down. I'm going to tell it what I want to bring in. And for now, I'm going to tell it to bring in everything, just so you can see how this works. Now, the thing about Outlook is it's a little bit limited in some of the things it'll put in, because what you put into Outlook is really just appointments. And it's not really clear on that. But for now, you're going to see I'm going to mark everything. And I'm going to do it for 14 days ago and 30 days into the future. Where do I want to ring the activity alarms? I'm going to say, in this case, I'll do both of them. And I'm going to click OK. So again, I'm only syncing the Outlook calendar into Act. Schedule automatic synchronization. How often do we want to synchronize? For right now, I'm just going to leave it at manual. So I have to do it by myself. And I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click OK again. It's asking me if I want to synchronize now. I'm going to click Yes, so you can see the process run through. I might have just clicked away from that window. Sometimes that will happen. Sometimes it's going to happen behind the window. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and I'm going to open up Microsoft Outlook. I'm going to press the F11 key to bring this back. I'm going to go down, open Outlook. I'm going to go down to my calendar. And at this point, on the 15th of the month, I am going to type in Outlook test appointment 1 and get this on my calendar. Okay, I'm just going to copy this so I can do that again. Go Control C. I'm going to save that. I've locked it in on the 15th. That's for tomorrow. Let me go back down to Act. I'm going to go up to Tools. I'm going to go down to Synchronize with Outlook. And I'm going to click on Synchronize Now. What I anticipate should happen is that it will bring that meeting into Act if this is working properly. And let's see what that does right now. Okay, let's see if it's on the calendar. Oh, yes. Now we're looking at the calendar and act. Is it in here? Not in here yet. Okay, let's look at the more of the daily calendar. Actually, we'll do the work week just so it's a little easier to see. Nothing there yet. Sometimes you might have to hit refresh to see if that's come in to update your calendar, but we'll take a look at that right now. There it is, right there. So it's scheduled it for no specific time, and that's a little confusing right there. And that can be confusing the way that was done. Now, I'm not sure why it did it that way. I got to be honest with you, but it did bring it in. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that I want you to take away from this experience is that sometimes, and actually, I think I know why that happened. I've got to go in and change the settings to make it Eastern Standard Time. So I think once I change that setting, we'll see this come in a little bit more clearly. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to show you a little bit about the process of setting this up. I'll try to clarify this with better explanations and little side tutorials off of this one, but I wanted you to go through that experience as I go through it. Because when you're dealing with browsers and Act and Outlook, there are just some things that when you do these things, you do them on occasion, and then you don't do them again for a long time. And even I am not immune to dealing with some of the ramifications or the way you deal with some of these things. Thank you so very much. Have a great day. Bye now.